Hello and welcome to the 2025 end of the year wrap up for all of our handhelds here in 2025. There's a lot of them, so I thought I would go through and just get everything we've gotten this year and show everybody what my favorite handhelds are, in addition to what my favorite software, front ends, and just a general few setup and like tips and tricks of things we were using this year. So here we go. This is also the first time we're doing these types of streams, so if anything's weird, let me know in the comment section down below, or if you are here when it's live, in the chat, please. Thank you. We've got let's see here. Public concurrent viewers. Okay, cool. All right, so the first thing we're going to go through is some Android games that we were looking at this year. I think for me, the Conquer Pocket Fit was my favorite Android device that's come out. Because I think technically the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 either came out at the beginning or the end of last year. I can't really remember. But they had a lot of issues with the hinge, and I think there was some feedback of people saying that they didn't like how it came out. I ended up really liking it, so there we go. Gotta open these things. So yeah, so Ein does a pretty good job with their overlays of different software for your retro games. So when you log in and you get into this device for the first time, you end up with stuff like this, where it's like a Retroid style launcher where it kind of just has all your stuff tiled there. But they also have an app called the iSpace app, which I don't particularly like. It seems a little cumbersome to me, but I'm glad it's there. Some people use it. I prefer Daigisho if I'm going to set up like a huge emulation front end for everything. But if I'm not, then I just honestly I stick pretty much to the stock Android experience, because it's just easy to pick from a list. I don't really care that much, to be honest. So a lot of the stuff we've been playing is Destiny Rising came out, and I think this is a fantastic platform to play that game on, specifically because it's got these sweet triggers and trigger locks that really make the difference between going from like racing games to shooting games. And this thing's got plenty of power to get the... They have a... they have like a... what's it called? I don't know. They have like a... they in their settings, they have a specific like better or more frame rate. I don't really know the difference. I don't know why they would state it that way. But the idea is there's a setting for graphics quality, so I'm assuming they just bump down the fidelity so you can get more frames. This one will run fully maxed out, so you don't have to worry about that. What they do like you to do, though, is constantly download things, which is very annoying. But once you have everything downloaded, it really runs pretty well. So while we're waiting for this to load up, when you're using one of Ioneo's, or this one is the Conquer Pocket Fit, a sub-brand of Ioneo, they have a overlay on here on the right side, which they didn't start with this a few years ago, but now that they've implemented all of this stuff, they've really done a pretty good job. All of the controller mapping, the device functions, like volume I could have changed there. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all that same stuff. And then quick access stuff along with settings. The big one's kind of performance. They had issues with this a few generations ago where they would have like you would click to change the different performance mode, and it wouldn't stick if you like put it to sleep and then come back up. But I haven't had any issues. Whatever you set this thing to, it just kind of stays at. And I've set mine to gaming and just have left it there. But if you're definitely like playing like a really low power, you know, like Game Boy Advance game or something, you could definitely set this thing on eco and get a lot of battery life out of this thing. We are also taking user requests. So if there's any other people in the audience out there that has a specific handheld that they want to see like looked at, or we have a bunch of them all around me. You guys can't see them right now, but this whole wall goes around me, and I have like tons and tons of handhelds here that have come out this year, last year, all that kind of stuff. So, and if you've ever seen any of my top 5 videos, which I'll link them down below, we have all of those sitting right here. So if anybody wants me to run through anything, or, you know, this is kind of like an office hours for handheld nerds. So, yeah, to go back to it, my favorite Android one has definitely been this one this year. I really can't get away from the Retroid Pockets as well. They just, these clamshells are just so nice. I definitely don't want to sign in. Being able to throw that directly in my bag has been great. I know the Ein Thor is also out, and I haven't got it yet. So I don't really know what to do about that. They haven't sent me one, and I pre-ordered it, and it just hasn't come in the mail yet. So I was going to include it in this year, but I haven't got it, and I don't think a lot of people have yet either. I know a bunch of the reviewers have, but I haven't really seen anything from, I don't know, basic people. So, other than that, I think that was the only other one that I probably am going to really like. So this is just kind of like the top 5 of my 5 favorite handhelds that were being played this year. So we can keep going through this one. Like I said, if anybody has anything, let me know in the chat. I don't often do these types of streams, so let me know if I'm screwing anything up down there. So, alright, the Conquer Pocket Fit, back to it. We have Destiny Rising. You can see the gyroscope working there. It runs great. It really does a great job, and I think this is the thing I played most on the Conquer Pocket Fit here, just because it also came out this year, and I was a big Destiny fan, so, which, yeah, I mean, it, as you can see, it just, they really did it. Who runs this one? I think it's NetEase who actually does this. They did a fantastic job with this game. It is very microtransaction-y, which I wish people would get away from that and just make us pay for it, but I get mobile. That's kind of how people want to do things. So that's how that is. I do have to say, I do this a lot, because if you look here on the face of the device, you have your start select buttons that are like clearly start and select, but you have a K button, which is, when you click it, it's the Conquer overlay, which is the IMEO overlay. But this one, I can never remember which one this one is. This is like a very tiny, and I think it's back. But then you also have your top left another overlay button, and this one also is, yeah, that switches. I wish I could change that one, because it constantly changes your stuff, and I'm like, I just accidentally press it because I forget what it is, because it's a make box window bigger. I don't know what the hell that means, but I guess that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, start and select is down here under the D-pad. So let's get into an event here and see if we got anything good. Let's see, we got 4 people watching. Hello to everyone. If anybody has anything they would like to look for, any sort of handhelds, drop it down in the comments. Oh, thanks, Woods. The top down is what I was looking for. We just set this up today, and I had to dig all my old webcams out of the drawers, so everything's doing pretty good. We got... I'm not sure what we want to play here. It's very annoying. I wish this was just easier to navigate, because it's always something. I know it's in events, but they do... Like, I don't know what event this is. No, this is the Dawning. I don't want to do the seasonal. I want to do like a, I want to do one of these. What's Ascension? Man, I just want to do like a... I don't even know. There's like too much stuff here. Appearance? No. They change these damn events every time, so I never know what the hell I'm getting into here. But in addition to Destiny Rising, I actually would like to get into a freaking game here. We've got Snowball Fight? Western Legend. No. Complete the primary chapter of Ground Beat. Okay, sure. See, this is one of Destiny's downfalls right here. Is confusing. Oh my god, okay. Yes, fast travel, go. Yeah, this is one of Destiny's huge downfalls. Even though this game is free, it is still confusing to navigate. Why? Why not? Why make so much crap in the events tab? Draw, battle pass, like new looks, and then you have inventory and packs. So when I go to say, okay, where's my next mission? I have no idea. No idea. It's very annoying. This game is good. It's just, my god, they make you as hard to play as they can. And then there's too much stuff to do. And it's all slightly something to do with what you're actually trying to do. I don't know. Let me look here. You've got a battle pass. The chapters. Upgrade quest? Enhance? No. And this is generally where they lose me. So I'm out. I'll do a different app because this is just very annoying. Now, on the other hand, something I like to test, because it's a pretty good Android game, but it doesn't have a lot to do in it, because it's just a roguelite wave-based game, is 20 Minutes Till Midnight. If you haven't played it, it's fantastic. The game is very easy to play. If it works. If anything works. What is my life? Let's play. Endless mode. We're batting 1,000 here. So I did want to go through some of the items that I was going to go through tonight while that thing does something. Nope. Okay, everything is broken and my life isn't real. Oh my. What else we got? I play a fair amount of Hunt Down this year. I played it mostly on, let's see here. I played it mostly on the Steam Deck, which actually, that was another thing I wanted to go over. We are going over the, what is it, GameHub. I'd like to go over GameHub, because that is a piece of software that I think is blowing up right now. let's see here. This has been great. How this works is you link your Steam account to this, and you can actually go through and add Steam games that will run the compatibility layer to Android. So something like Hunt Down that doesn't really require a lot of, what is it? A lot of processing power from the device. You could just load it up on here, and then you're good to go. I did stuff like that for the Retroid Pocket Flip as well. Where is the GameHub? Because I had a few installed. Which I actually have 2 of these. Yeah, here we go. It's on this one. So this is a little egregious, I know, but these are the 2 different processor sets for the Retroid Pocket Flip. Initially, they thought they were going to have a big difference, which is why I ended up picking up both. But they didn't. So, this is where we're at. Everything wants you to put notifications on, and I say, no thank you. So, this is another one of the devices that I really enjoyed this year. The Conquer Pocket Fit, all of the software is broken for some reason. So we'll leave that for right now. But our other devices, we've got the Retroid Pocket Flip, which I couldn't believe it, but the work they've done on GameHub is actually great. You're able to basically get into your Steam account and launch whatever games you want to play. Now, be it's going to be low power games onto your ARM-based device, which I have a feeling that Steam is going to try and get their stuff on mobile as quickly as they possibly can, because that is just an insane amount of stuff that they could sell to other people. And right now, with the Steam Deck and all the new hardware that's come out, I would not be surprised if they do something like... They've tried the game streaming before, but I don't think they've gotten to the point where they can actually, launch their Steam app and have you just straight download that with a compatibility layer. So, but GameHub's been doing it, so I would not be surprised if Steam's like, oh yeah, that is a good idea. Let's do that. Because Steam likes money. Checking firmware, syncing cloud. Yeah. So this is another one that I also really like, which is the Retroid Pocket Flip 2. I put a custom skin on mine because I'm a nerd, and I thought the Xbox logo looked hilarious. There's an Etsy seller that does these stickers. They're a little expensive, but they're custom fit, and they fit very nice to the front of the device. Just, it fits it like a glove. We're able to also do, they have, what was it? They had GameCube, PS1, a bunch of that stuff. So if you have this thing set up to play PS2 games or your Xbox games, you can try and get the CD in there and get it going. But yeah, so this is GameHub running, and we've got majority of 8 and 16-bit style games that are going to be what you want to play on this. Something like, I would say up to probably Hades 2 you'd be able to get away with on this type of device, or the Conquer Pocket Fit we have here. That I think is a really big move for Android. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, I'd recommend checking it out. I also recommend, if you haven't gotten your ROMs to a specific spot you want them, get a 256 gig or 256 or 500 gig SD card, something like this, a SanDisk or something, get all of your game files onto one thing that you can... Sorry. Get all your files onto one drive that you can then, like, pop between your Steam Deck or your, you know, Android handheld, something like that. The best thing you'll need to do is... The first thing you'll need to do is make sure that this has gone into an Android device. So they'll format the card, pull it out of there, and then generally you're okay with using it as just storage for the Steam Deck or anything else. They'll be able to pop your files. So that's how I do all of my testing. I'm able to change the games from here to the Steam Deck to whatever PC handheld that I'm using. And I generally keep all my files on one SD card. And then just kind of cycle them through. But for this, we're running Ape Out from Steam on GameHub through the Retroid Pocket 2. So, I've never actually played this game before, but it seems fun. Left stick. So it looks like I have a punch. Slight grab. I need to free all of my ape brethren. Because these guys get cooked. What else we got? We got this one. Okay. But yeah, as you can see, it's a Steam game. Just running. Not natively, but my guess is they're through a compatibility layer for Android. Now, I do know that these don't pause. So, like, they obviously pause as in the game pauses, but the software is still running, so it's going to run it at a level of... it's not going to throttle your TDP. So if you're running this game at, like, 15 watts of power, and you're sucking back 15 watts of juice, and you close this thing, it's going to do kind of what the Steam Deck does, where it just leaves the game open and it's still on, technically, until you shut the game down. I think it has to do with something about Steam's autosave feature. It doesn't do this with any other games, but specifically through GameHub, I've noticed that the resume and the shutdown with the lid did not work correctly, nor it was working correctly if you had it on a different Android device. So that just might be something that's wonky and will get better with time, but that was something I noticed because I went to go play these and I had like 2 sessions of GameHub open on different devices and everything was dead when I came back to play again. Or realistically test, because I don't have a lot of time to play games, and that's why I'm doing this, because I normally do this anyway every, Monday or Tuesday when I'm filming stuff to get all these devices ready, because this is what you would normally see. So if I'm filming a video for Top Down, normally I would have to sit there, get through the intro or whatever game I'm playing at the time, and then I can start recording some gameplay, because, it's got to be interesting. You don't want to leave the viewer with, start menu footage, which, hey, it's happened before. But this orange monkey... Oh, I took one. Do I have a butt? A butt. Do I have a butt? No, do I have, a dodge? It's not really a dodge. But... Alright, so who else we got? We got anybody in the chat that needs anything? We got anybody who wants a specific device tested? Oh, I ate it. So, that's the Retroid Pocket 2. GameHub has been awesome. You have a bunch of different options where you can do gamepad management. You can go through and tweak, performance settings. So if you're having issues with, a relatively stronger, a more powerful game that you're going to need more frame... Jeez, I'm stumbling over my words. If you're going to need more power for a game, you can bump down your frame rate to get a more stable environment for you. So you're able to change your frame rate, HDR, all that jazz, and all the regular, settings for the device. As you can see, we've been cooking at 58 frames and haven't really had any problems. It looks like the main objective here is to get out. So let's give us a hot run and try and see if we can get past all these guys. The other thing I'd like to talk about too is like emulation front ends that different emulation front ends that people like to use. I'm very fond of the Daijisho front end. Oh, I just barely dodged that there. Because it just looks nice. And the UI I think looks great. And I think a lot of the retro, like the one that Retroid comes with, is not that great. The one that Ioneo came with, the Conquer Pocket Flip, also not that great. They're totally usable. They're realistically just a fancy way to list all of your games and put them back to back to, you know, start if you're going for GBA or N64 games or like, you know, any of the retro consoles that need to be played. But man, if they don't look good or work well or easy, it's man, that's tough. There's no real interest to, like, why would you not just pick the, like, a random one from what's it called? What do you use? RetroArch? Yeah, RetroArch, and just go from there. You just click RetroArch and then you're into the thing. So I recommend picking one out and finding something that you like and spending the time to, you know, dial in your games and then dial in your box art and make it nice for you, because when it's nice for you, you're going to want to play it more, right? At least that's my thought. Ooh, that guy takes damage. Hey. How do we get out of here? Just okay. Okay, so you can use the guys as projectiles. 2, heating up. Okay. Do I get faster, or is it just a one button I got? Bang. Do I have a monkey table? No, I got nothing. I got this. No, it's just it's just push. That's all I got. All right, I'm gonna keep at it. These fat guys with the armor I don't like. Oh, I took one. Oh, push. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. We're turning into the Monkey of Doom. Shit. Well, you can't win them all. I guess that's how far you get in the run. So it looks like to get to the end of this level, I would have to go twice the distance I survived it. Which I don't think that's that hard. That's pretty good. I like this game. Now, how do we get out of the game? I think I've always just swiped up and closed GameHub, which honestly, it's not that bad to be. It's doing pretty good for breaking that many games. Let's go quit. And then what happens when you do that is it will kick back to Steam servers and say like, hey, you completed this, here's your save data, and then when you go to play this on like another device, you'll pick up right where you left off, which is super nice. So, that is the Retroid Pocket 2 Flip 2. I recommend using it for stuff up to the... I like to play up to the PlayStation 2 on this device. I don't think it's great for specifically shooters, which is why I still also like the Conquer Pocket Flip. I think this is very good for shooters. I think this is very good for taking on the go, putting it in your backpack, putting it wherever, and it doesn't matter. It's a clamshell. So I'm going to be really excited to see how the Ein Odin Thor is, because that device is a clamshell. It's a little more powerful than that one, and I think it's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do a head-to-head video, I think, on this between those two, and then, yeah, because I haven't got mine yet, so that's what that is. But other things that I played this year that I really liked were a few things, which we'll go over now. The Xbox ROG Ally X. I think a thing that is made very well device-wise, and then I also think that this thing is a great step in the right direction for Microsoft. I think people have given this a lot of flack because the software is still pretty Windows, but it's not that bad. I think they've done a very good job of getting it together. Base still viable option play 3DS. Okay, so it looks like we got people in the chat now, so I'm gonna take a look here. So we got, oh god, this is a very long name. Do you think the Thor base is still a viable option to play 3DS and Nintendo DS only? Yeah, absolutely. Anything for Nintendo DS? Pretty much everything can play Nintendo DS. We've got the Anbernic RG35XX Pro. That'll play DS games. So don't worry about that one. But for 3DS, you're definitely going to want an Android device that can at least run up to, I would say, like PlayStation 2 games. So that was kind of around where the graphics quality for the 3DS was anyway. And you're running 2 screens. So the base Thor, I generally tend to buy the base of whatever Android device is put out anyway. Because usually the base option is, it's always for like extra RAM or more storage. So I generally add an SD card, and I mean, the stuff that's going to actually thread that high and like really work those type of CPUs is just, it's not that big a deal. So like you'll be able to get up to Switch emulation on the Ein Thor, and I got the base one, so when it comes in, you could stick around and wait for the full review when I get it. But I ordered the base one because I think that processor is totally fine to play all that stuff. So we'll see when it gets here for the full answer, but I would send it for the bottom one. I don't think paying a ton extra for RAM and storage is what you need in these handhelds. Honestly, a ton of these Android games are going to run great on pretty much a potato. So that's that answer. Looks like we got another chat for purchase the Conquer Pocket Fit, 8 and 128. I'm assuming 8 gigs and 128 gigs of storage. Is it good? I'm playing Android games up to Retroid games and the only like GameHub games. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. One second. I think that'll totally be fine. The Conquer Pocket Fit, I have the, what do I got here? I think I have just above the base model. I think I have the 8 gigabyte model, but then I also have the storage. And dude, it's totally fine. I generally, like I said, I go with the low end version just because I think the base processors they put in there, the processor's going to be the same each time, so you're really only getting RAM. So unless you're really getting into tweaking like specific emulators, it's not going to be that much of a difference. So, who is it? I think Taki Udon does a great list of like compatibility for devices, and it's like a web page that he does. So if I dig that up, I'll find it. I'll throw it down in the description when I have time later. One last question for a really long guy name. If this year were of the clamshell, what would you expect for 2026? Oh, if this is the year of the clamshell, what would they expect for 2026? I don't know. I feel like next year is going to be dominated by Steam content, to be honest. The Steam machine, the Valve frame, the controller, and the Steam Deck are all going to be out at the same time. So it's like, the Steam Deck's not new, but they have those 3 new devices, so I think we're going to see a lot of content on that. But for devices specifically, I don't know. I think we're in a great spot for handhelds. There are so many that are great, and I think the Anbernic one that came out, the Anbernic DS one, is cool. And you've got Retroid, and then you got now Ein putting one out, so clamshells are my favorite. Another one of the ones that I was going to talk about that I haven't yet is the Anbernic RG SP. this thing is great. It's one of my favorite handhelds still because it just frickin' works. And you can close it, throw it in your bag, don't care about any of it. So I completely blown away with how many are out now. I agree with that. But if I had to guess for something that's coming up that's going to be like the big theme for next year, I don't know. It might be something like this where it's like getting into like trigger locks, like everything is trigger locks. There's only really like 2 handhelds that I have seen that have trigger locks, so that might be a big thing people implement for their runs of stuff next year. The Legion Go S and the Conquer Pocket Fit are the only 2 that I've seen that have them on it yet. And I really like them. I think it's, when I did my review of the Conquer Pocket Fit, I think it's one of those features that like we see in new controllers, which I think handhelds are a great subset of hardware to steal stuff from the controller market, because there's so many good features on controllers that the handhelds can just take because they're just a screen and battery with a controller and some operating software on it. So it would be cool to see like trigger locks. I know people are going to be like, oh, TMR joysticks, which I think we've had great joysticks for a lot of years, but TMRs are the new fancy ones, so that'll be marketing plug. So yeah, I think that would be good. But I'm a clamshell guy, so I mean, these are basically my 2 favorite ones that I end up taking on like vacation and stuff, and then I've been pretty glued to the ROG Ally X for since it's come out. And I think it's because of how good the Windows software is now. What is that? HCTUDYT. He says, thanks, brother. Actually, this is my first handheld. Tired of playing with the touch controllers on Android smartphones. Hey, man, I get that. These controllers only go these controllers that you put on the sides, too, really only go so far. But I have noticed throwing a controller in my backpack if I don't want to bring something with me, and then, like, playing on my phone when it's, like, propped up on something has actually been great, too. Like, streaming from Steam Link back to my computer at my house has been awesome. So, definitely recommend that. So, don't ever forget about the phone. It'll get stuff done in a pinch. But the other one handheld that I was going through a lot this year was the ROG Ally X, and it's a very expensive handheld. And I think it is worth it for a lot of people that are going to get more out of their Steam library and their Xbox library. I don't know if you want this to be your dive-in point for either ecosystem, but I definitely think if you are somebody who is like gung-ho Xbox, gung-ho PC gamer, and have something already, like if you have an Xbox Series X and you want more out of it, this is a way to do that. Same thing with a high-end PC. Sorry, I've been talking for too long. If you want more out of a device like this and have your high-end PC, I definitely think playing this and matching it to a PC is awesome. I really like the 16:9 screen. And here, let me up the... Come on there, buddy. I really like the... This is not as bright as I remember. I really like the 16:9 aspect ratio. I didn't realize this previously, but man, the Steam Deck weird aspect ratio, it works great with Steam and practically nothing else. And I've been saying this on a few other reviews recently, that like the big nice new screens of like the Lenovo Legion Go and the other Legion Go 2 and the S and all that other stuff, I don't know why people aren't choosing the 16:9 screen. It's just the right aspect ratio. Everything's already formatted for that. It's like, I just don't get it. So I I highly recommend this one for specifically the screen size. And dude, look at these pork chops. Look at these things. They're freaking huge. It's a very sturdy thing to be grabbing onto. And I like it. So I've been playing. I played Arc Raiders. I played through Tony Hawk 3. And I'm on like the second park of 4. I was also able to kind of go through all of the new Windows software here, because man, the Windows software here with the Xbox home button is great. I've tried it on other handhelds and man, is it a mess, because there's no way to prompt this specific. When you hold it, there's almost no way to prompt that, which is switching between your open applications. So like when you click on your applications and go into switch and say like, okay, hey, I want to open, which I'll take you through the the stuff in a second, but you have a spot to open different apps, because this is just running your Windows backend. So you can go into Steam and have it open and update Steam, which I do appreciate, being able to log into Windows and not have to just deal with all this stuff start up and just be like clunky and a mess is awesome. So what they did here is great, but again too, it's not as seamless as the Steam Deck, man, which is why one of the other things I've been playing so much this year is the Steam Deck. And you can't get this thing out of my hands, man. It is a console experience, and it's great. Now, one that I haven't talked about yet, which I actually forgot to bring in here before I started the stream, is the Nintendo Switch 2. They had a hard announcement with all of... They really locked in for their release this time around. They released a Pokemon game. They released a Donkey Kong game. They released Mario Kart game, and they released a new Metroid game, all within the first 6 months of being out. That is kind of insane, but I'm kind of skeptical, because I think they may have front-loaded their little niche of games here, because to be honest, without those 4 games, if they just released like just Mario Kart and maybe just Donkey Kong, I don't think the Switch 2 would be as popular as it is. Because 4 months ago, when it was launched, but all you had was Mario Kart, it was kind of slim pickings. So that is one that I did play a lot of as well, but it's not quite in my list, because unless you're playing one of those 4 games, the Switch 1 can still get you done. So we'll get to that in a second. To finish off what we're talking about here with the Microsoft debacle for the year, this is the big thing. This is the big thing they did. This is essentially Windows. Right now it's running your Windows kernel, it's running your Windows backend, but the big difference here is it's not running any of your other Windows software. Now, let's not get crazy. If you even touch the Windows desktop button, all of that launches. So it runs your updaters, it runs all that other stuff that would normally come stock on a laptop or whatever you got. So running it in essentially Windows big picture mode, or what is it? It's the Xbox full screen experience. Running in the Xbox full screen experience is great. So, and it works pretty seamlessly. I have noticed on other devices, which it's not fully rolled out for everything yet, but I've put this on the Lenovo Legion Go's, I put it on the GPD devices, and I also put it on, what else did I stuff it into? I stuffed it into basically every Windows handheld I had, because it's just taking the Windows 11 version that you have and updating it to a new patch. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. There's a crack I have that I've been using to do this, so I'll leave it down in the description once this video is a VOD. And it'll be down there. So if you're watching this later, check down in the description. It'll have a way to get this up if Windows isn't letting you yet, because I think they have run into an issue where it's like if you don't have a second, like on this Lenovo Legion Go S we got here, which is dirty typically, you have your start and select buttons, which are already keyed, but then you're missing a button. You have the settings button, and then you have the Legion Go space button. Now, if you hold the Legion Go space button, it doesn't do anything. So they need to release a way in here to like have this button be available. They haven't quite done that yet. This button is very, very important because it calls the menu from wherever you're at. If you're in a game, this is your overlay you get, which pulls up the Steam Armory crate, the Asus Armory crate, which you can change, you know, like your stick colors and your basic settings in there. But then it also calls up your Microsoft settings in here. So like your OS settings, where it's like, okay, do you want to switch between your recently used stuff, or like, what do you want to do? If you long press and hold it, it opens to your open applications, which I think they've done a good job with this, and you need this button. But if you crack it and put it on other devices, I've noticed that there are missing buttons. So my guess is they're working out a way to figure out like button combos, or a way to be able to attach all of your own key bindings to that and then go from there. So the power level on this thing, man, it is astounding. The Z2 Extreme is an absolutely incredible chip. I was able to play, what was I playing? I was playing this docked, running Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 at 60 FPS, and I think I may have had to tweak the settings a little bit, but I docked that with a AMD graphics card and put that on my TV, and honestly, I could not tell the difference between this and my Xbox Series X. It was just put together right. It was very blown away. So I think this Z2 Extreme chip is finally at the point where like you could drop it in, and if you just have like I don't know, a fancy desktop, this would absolutely go hard as a console replacement. Which I did a video on that, and I think it's very interesting topic, because I think the Steam machine coming out, I mean, is basically one of these just crammed together. So they're like, oh, it's 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck, the Steam machine, that is. And they do a little graphic of stacking all the Steam Decks up in their commercial. This device here is probably pretty close to that. Because it was funny. I was looking at the power of this, and this is a... What is this? This is a... oh, I don't have a keyboard hooked up to it, so I can't pull it up. But this is a like 16-core, 32-thread device with 32 gigs of RAM and, you know, 500 gigs of storage, or a terabyte. I'm like, this is so close to what my desktop is now. So like what I'm using to edit videos and play games on, I'm like, they're just missing the bigger graphics card. So if you dock it and throw a graphics card in here with the what is it? It's the 40 gigabit per second USB-C port. Oh, it's great. So we can also play some of the new Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. I don't know when it came out, but it's new to me, and it's been great. And yes, it's always laggy, so don't worry about it. What I've also been doing, too, a lot of, is streaming games from my desktop PC over to handhelds like this. And when you're streaming on your computer and streaming over to something like this that has the same aspect ratio, man, does it turn out nice. You really can't tell. If you have fast Wi-Fi and you're able to get stuff going like that, it has no issues, and it's just been a lot of fun. I'm very pleased with how all the new handhelds came out this year, and I can't wait to see what comes out next year. What haven't we gone over yet? Oh, I guess we haven't gone over a few things. So, two of the other handhelds this year that I was going pretty much glued to throughout the year. We touched on it in the section about clamshells, but the Retroid Pocket Classic and the Anbernic SP, they have been staples since they've come out. This, I think, is my favorite device to play Android games on, specific ones. So games like Hunt Down that can be used with a D-pad and look like an 8 or 16-bit game. So like something like Celeste or like Game Boy Advance games, this thing is fantastic for that. And I think having the Android operating system on it just really steps up the experience a lot. Because when we have something like, where did it go? Here it is. We've got the 35XX Pro. This right here is what I would recommend for most people. If you're just getting a Retroid device, or a retro device to play with, few handheld games there, or something like that, this is what you want to pick up. But if you have one and you're looking for something specific or want a very nice Android experience for emulation, this is the ticket. Because it doesn't have sticks, so you can't really play anything else other than 8 and 16-bit games, side scrollers, stuff like that. This is the ticket. Oh, also, it looks like Sailing Hogs? I can't... Sally Hogs? I don't know. The one that says, it's late here. I gotta go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This one I very much like. I think it's dead, though. Let me plug it in while we wait. So, what are you talking about, Vegeta? I just wanted to start one game up for you guys before we get going. I think it is getting close to the end of the stream. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left. So if there are any other handhelds you guys want to look at, the last two I'm going to talk about are the rest of the ROG Ally X and then the Anbernic SP, because I got some custom firmware on the SP, and I really do like how it turned out. So we also talked about, we can talk about the Steam Deck, but I think the front end for the Steam Deck is pretty standard. We could talk about this, but I've played the Steam Deck quite a lot. The ergonomics, screen, and software are still just the baseline acceptable experience for gaming on the go. So, if you're looking for an extra experience, this one is the one I'd recommend. If you're looking for a little less, the Conquer Pocket Fit is the one I'd recommend right now. So, I just want to quickly show you guys the the graphics for this handheld, because, man, they really did blow me away. Oh, and I'm fighting Frieza, so I'm probably just gonna... die, because I'm not that good at fighting games, but I like them, which is the problem. And I don't really know what they want me to do here. Yes, that's it. Frieza. Get out of here. Oh, it looks like we're getting, I think we're getting some good slowdown. Here, let me... So that is one of the things, too, is since this isn't a Steam Deck, and Valve hasn't gone through and, well, used the community support to set set recommended settings for games, you get stuff like this, where you log into your game, and you go, oh, this is the Xbox handheld, it should just run these games, right? No. And what I mean by that is, you'll need to dial some of them in. So some of the settings, if you've played on your computer, might port over to these, and it'll just start up at, like 4K or something, or whatever persistent settings that were still coming through are. I haven't had as many issues with the, what's it called? The Xbox fullscreen experience. It has gone pretty well for specifically Xbox games, launching it through there. But definitely when you launch a specific exe from another software platform, you might have issues. And it looks like I can't even change them from here. Over here trying to do a display of power, and we're getting like a 50% slowdown here. Yeah, no, this is not playable right now. I gotta screw with the settings. Yeah, which we don't want to wait around for that. Yeah, that's way too slow. Yeah, but that's part of gaming on these type of handhelds. That's part of gaming on Windows. So that's where we'll leave that. I could play Pro Skater really quick. What, we got like 10 minutes left? I got 5 minutes left. All right, we'll talk about the Anbernic SP real quick. So, highly recommend that one. The Lenovo Legion Go 2 also comes with that processor, and it is very expensive, but hey, if you got the cash to shell out for that, the screen is fantastic, and it is a very weird device that it's pretty good. I like it. But it is very expensive, so know what you're getting into. Now this, I've upgraded the software from the regular Anbernic overlay, and we've gone with the MUOS option. I really like this software for this device. It is super snappy and super basic, which is exactly what I want for a device like this. I want to be able to throw this back into my bag if I'm getting on a bus or I'm getting on a train, throw it in my pocket, waiting in line for a ticket for something, get it back out, and it pop back on immediately. That is exactly what MUOS is set up for on this device, and it rocks. All you got to do, set up your favorites, click them, and then it's good to go. Unless it's broken. The nice thing about this is you can set it up to, this is a game I haven't played yet, but when you go to something that you were playing recently or playing, you know, just in game, it will either hold it and it will, if you notice the green light there, it'll keep it on for like a set amount of time. You can change how long it'll stay on for. So, you know, if you're standing in line to like waiting for a tram or like something like that, and you're playing, waiting in line, and then you quickly close it to get on, sit down, and then pick it up again, you can set that timer to keep it live, and then when you get back on the bus, you go, oh, it's good to go. That is one of the nice things you can do. What I've also noticed I've been doing more with this is I loaded on, I know a lot of people have been asking, it's been seen in my thumbnails, Pokemon Infinite Fusion, which I don't think I have it on this one, but I might go into that later. There's a ROM hack of Pokemon Infinite Fusion that took a random list of the generated Pokemon and just kind of threw it in there. So you're able to go through and pick up that kind of stuff and go and try. Like, it won't regenerate them, but you're able to get a single generation of the random generated Pokemon, which it does a lot of other stuff than just randomly generate them. And then each one of like your starting Pokemon will be generated differently each time. So if you wanted to change them and like, you know, turn it on and off and try and get different starters, you can do that as well. But I've been playing that on here and also on the what is this? The Miu Mini. I've been playing that on here, and it is great for single-handed use, just like this one. This one, it's okay, but this one has been great for, you know, if you're sitting there, like, watching the window or something like that, and just kind of cranking through battles. It's been great for that. I have used this, not as much as I've used this one, but I've used this one as well. So I highly recommend MUOS for these devices. They don't support a ton of devices. I'm not sure who's making them, but they definitely do some. I recommend just looking up whatever device you have. Like Johnny said he got the RG 477M and love it for 4x3 gaming. Yeah, completely agree. If you've got custom OSs, and this is kind of my point here, is you've got a custom device like these little Linux devices. Ambernick, Retroid, whatever. Definitely check to see if you can go and check and see if they have custom software for them, because being able to load up a different front end completely changes the device, and I highly recommend getting into that. They do that also for stuff like the GKD Pixels and the MIUI devices or the TrimUI bricks. Just see what's out there, because there's a huge community of modders that are doing front-end software like this that'll change how the device works. The Ambernick stuff was fine. It's just, these are those little things that, like, when you can tweak, you know, power settings or something where you very specifically want to change it. Look out there. There might be something for you. So, this is the top of the hour. I unfortunately only have an hour to go, so that's all I got for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you want anything else to be, you know, covered next time. This was just my stuff that I played this year and the stuff that I really like. So if you got anything else you want me to cover, or go into a deep dive of like how to set up one of your front ends, or like what specific software I use, or even just, you know, what games I'm playing, let me know, because I think I'm going to start doing these live streams a little bit more often, because I'm pretty much doing this on Monday anyway. I'm setting up a device or testing a device for that week, so you might get sneak peeks of stuff that's not out yet, or, well, let me rephrase that. Is out yet, but I'm getting it later than all the other reviewers, because I don't have that many subscribers. So if you'd like to be considered for the giveaway, subscribe down below, drop me a comment, let me know what you're playing, and what type of device you're playing it on. That's all I got today. Remember to load up and destroy that backlog. Davey out.